Hi there, welcome to What and Series 16 and number 37. Here we get to the point of Joseph revealing himself to his brothers. That is starting in Genesis chapter 45. We're starting at verse 1. It says, "Then Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, 'Make everyone go out from me.' So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard it." Interesting, isn't it? Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Does my father still live?" But the brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. Okay, we get the whole scene there, don't we? We understand where it's all coming from. But notice it says Joseph could not restrain himself. And he ordered everybody out, Egyptians, everybody out of the room, and then he was alone with his brothers. Now that wouldn't have happened very often. His great emotion showed that Joseph did not cruelly manipulate his brothers at this stage. He was directed by God to make these arrangements, and it hurt him in some ways to do all of the things that he had to do to see whether his brothers were fair dinkum and honest. Notice it says Joseph made himself known to his brothers. This means that Joseph told them he was Joseph and perhaps showed his brothers that he was their brother. Now, this could have been done, I suppose, with scars or birthmarks or something that they would have recognised, so they would know that he is truly their brother. But it would have been fairly difficult to make up, wouldn't it? Because he would have known things about them. But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. Yeah, I can get this. Because it was punishment that they anticipated, not this kind of family reunion. The great emotion of Joseph, his manner of revelation, and the total shock of learning that Joseph was not only alive, but right in front of them, and actually who he was, would have left them dumbfounded, yes, but it says dismayed. The ancient word in the Hebrew for dismayed means amazed, frightens, even terrified. Yeah, they might have thought, well, now he's really going to get us back. It says, "Come near to me," and in the next part, in verse 4, and that implies that the brothers cringed back in terror. Jewish legends, which are only legends, say the brothers were so shocked that their souls left their bodies. And it was only a miracle of God that their souls came back. Now, I don't exactly know where that came from, but I read that a little while ago. Their dismay was a preview, I suppose, a prophecy of what will happen when the Jewish people again see Jesus alive and see him for who he is. And it says, "And I will pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. Then they will look on me whom they pierced. Yes, they will mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and grieve for him as one grieves for a firstborn." Now that's from Zechariah and chapter 12. We're going to leave it there today, and we're going to come back to it next week, and we're going to hear what Joseph actually had to say.